So I'm actually setting up Python on my computer to run scanpy, which is an alternative to Seurat for single-cell RNA analysis. So it offers the whole pipeline where you can take the raw data directly from CellRanger and then pipe it into scanpy, and it should give me all the analysis that I need, including trajectory analysis and all the biomarkers identification and so on. And it can claim that it can deal with data set of more than 1 million cells more efficiently. So I want to set up a pipeline to compare the resource between the two systems. So I'm also using Microsoft Visual Code after trying Atom, Spider, and PyCharm. So Atom and Spider is great, it's clean looking, but it's a little bit difficult to get started with, while PyCharm is a little bit too intimidating with too many information and so on. So end up I'm using Microsoft Visual Code also because I'm running things on Windows. I feel like it's a little bit more compatible. So these are a few things to do if you want to set things up. First of all, download and install Python for the website. I'm using 3.8, 3.9, and 3.10. So I download 3 different versions on it. I download and install Visual Code from Microsoft Store actually. So once those two are downloaded and installed, I open Visual Studio and I navigate to extension and I install Jupyter Notebook. Once that, I actually go to the scanpy website and download all the IPY MB, which is supposed to stand for IPython notebook, and then throw it into a single folder. So all the IPython notebook as well as the data has to be contained within the same folder. Next one, I open the folder as a trusted folder in Visual Code. If you don't do that, it will allow you to view, but it won't allow you to edit or execute. So the next step is actually install all the packages you need for the project by creating a new chunk in one of the notebook and then change it to a PowerShell script and use pyp install whatever package name that you have. Maybe it's like scanpy, maybe it's matplotlib, OS, and many other one I'll tell you how later. So the next one is after you have done the installation, everything is successful, you restart Visual Studio and you can actually just start running through a scanpy script one by one. You can run the chunk by clicking on the button beside the chunk, and you actually have to run things in order, otherwise it wouldn't work. And you can also open another notebook within Visual Code just like that, and you can actually just run another one sharing the same environment, and you are basically done. So I've run through all IPython notebook in the scanpy website, all 4 tutorials successfully with only a single chunk running into problems, right? But there are a few things that I learned throughout the way. So if that few step doesn't work for you because there's some version number, these are a few things 5 things here I think you need to take off. First of all, is the installation of Python. You don't always need the latest version of Python. In some way, you don't want the latest version of Python. For example, the scanpy script that I'm running now doesn't run on 3.10. It will only run on 3.8 because of some, I think it's number doesn't work on 3.10, so it will not run. So you have this problem running when you try to install the packages. So try out different versions of it, and you have to actually go down a rabbit hole to figure out which one works. Might be easier if you just stick to one of the old one and then see what happens. So you can actually just change it directly in Visual Studio on the top right corner. So that's pretty easy. So the second one, you can't launch the IPython notebook directly by double clicking on it and open in Visual Studio. The better way is actually open up the folder from the Visual Studio as a trusted folder. So you allow you to run anything inside the folder. Otherwise, R will just automatically assume that's a working directory. But Visual Studio doesn't allow you to do that easily. Or maybe I'm an idiot or I'm doing it wrong. That's possible as well. The next one, pyp install. Just make sure you understand pyp install is not actually a Python script. pyp install is actually a bash script or that you have to run in a terminal if you're on Linux and Mac, or you have to run it in PowerShell if you're on Windows. So you can actually just open a new chunk, just change the Python on the bottom right of the chunk into PowerShell script, and you can actually install it directly inside your code. Okay, so next one is Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook is not part of the base Studio system. You actually have to install an extension for it to run. Otherwise, you only run the Python script directly. So in Python, you also cannot run things line by line, unlike in R and RStudio. Funny enough, you can actually do that in RStudio if you don't want to change the IDE. But in this case, either you run it chunk by chunk or you run it script by script. So that's why I prefer IPython Notebook over the normal Python script, which is why I'm using Jupyter Notebook in this situation. The last one is terminal install. So there's a terminal on the bottom right of Visual Code, and you can open it up to run like Bash script or PowerShell script directly. But understand that it might not or might install into the same Python version or different Python version, depends on your configuration with the Studio Code. So the safer way is to actually run the installation script inside one of your Jupyter Notebook chunk, so you can make sure that when you run the Jupyter Notebook, it will always stay in the same version, rather than you change up and down and there's version confusion and so on. That actually happens to me, which is why. So how is it so far for the installation? It's a lot easier than imagined, and I really like the interface actually as compared to R, sadly. I don't think R is bad. I just think that it's maybe I'm trying out a new system, so I feel great because it's new, but I can't really tell or explain in words why is it better. I just feel like the main window is bigger, but I can just drag the other one. I feel like Visual Studio managed space on a computer a little bit better, but I'm not really good at a designer. And I would say that for those that want to experience yourself, this is how you can set it up. And I will encourage anyone on Seurat to actually try out scanpy to understand there are certain benefits on running things on different systems. So I'll be trying out a lot more on scanpy analysis pipeline in the next few weeks and so on. Perhaps I'll actually try to add more thoughts to this video along the way, maybe in the video description, maybe in the comments and so on. I want to say thank you for today. I hope that you can actually try out Python and just share what you have found, what other things that I have gone wrong, and just put it in the comment down below, because definitely there'll be version upgrades along the way and thing changes all the time. Okay, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.